All right.
Sorry, we're a little late. We're having internet issues today.
Our internet connections are dominated by squirrels.
Well, I almost killed a squirrel this morning. They're stealing my green tomatoes and
Yes. And
eating them inside
they're
and then
not
just
even eating
throwing
them.
them.
Yeah.
I watched him do it. And then he was rolling around in my garden. So as the older I get, the more I understand why my mother shoots squirrels.
Your mother well, talk about that. Your mother, it's this is pretty dark. Her mother's a wonderful woman, but
Well, she's also an
if you
avid
fuck with her
gardener.
garden,
She has shot raccoons for eating decon. She actually shot rubber bullets at a deer, causing it to take out one of her birdhouses in fright.
but what she does to the squirrels is particularly dark.
Yeah, so she shoots the squirrels dead that are, trying to eat her garden or get in one of her bird feeders, and then she hangs them up for the foxes to eat that night. And she even has critter cams.
It's like a Mexican cartel.
Yeah, don't want to mess with
She
my
makes an
mother.
example of the squirrels. So
Mhm.
the other squirrels can say, I'm not going near her garden. Yeah.
So mad. I've been waiting so long for those tomatoes to come, and he's just throwing them.
Yeah. I'm glad that wasn't the first thing you told me about your mother, or I would have had a completely different, you know, experience. So, okay, so let's talk about the dream.
Oh God.
All right, so I had this epic dream the other night, right? And it was so real. I dreamt that somehow Stace and I became responsible for selling Glenn Hughes's sofa. I'm not sure why we were selected or what the criterion was, but we had a lot of trouble selling it. We tried Craigslist, we tried eBay, and then we started getting calls.
So David Coverdale actually called to tell us that he and Glenn wrote Stormbringer on that sofa. So why are we able to sell it?
Hughes keeps calling frustrated. At one point, he says, Freddie Mercury did spill some Chardonnay on that. Was it 74? But we had it professionally cleaned. You shouldn't have any trouble selling it.
Dave Hill from Slade called ranting about how many times he shagged Sable Storr on that couch. Ansley Dunbar called to tell us that the Frank Zappa song Sofa was inspired by, well, you know.
So it was at this point that I started A, refusing to answer any phone call that had a London area code, and started suggesting, why don't you guys buy this friggin' thing instead of harassing us, since it's apparently been involved in the making of every classic rock album since the 70s, you know.
In the end, Glenn ended up giving it to Joe Bonamassa so Rock's most important piece of furniture could fuel the quality of future Black Country Communion records.
And we all feel safe knowing that that sofa is still in the hands of rock stars. Yeah, that was my dream. So anyway,
It's better
I'm gonna
than
give you a little sneak peek at this week's vinyl band you might have heard of. Shh, don't tell anybody. So Ramones Geek Out will ensue.
And we have an interview with a man who has been in many, many bands over his storied
He's a man
career.
that he really could write a book that would be great, but just full of all
And
kinds
he
of
may have
rock.
written a book.
Yep, so we'll get into that too. So
I mean, Michael Jackson used to come to this man for advice.
really, yeah. So you'll see. Nothing but quality. So anyway, that's about all we got for
Yep.
the live stream.
Great
So
show. We're getting ready to record it now. Should be up hopefully later this evening. So stay tuned. It's a really good episode.
and I will get over my fear of sofas. So
All right.